listening to the Liquid Shape Podcast with your host, Cody Perez.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Liquid Shape Podcast with your one and only host, Cody Perez. And did you work on that all week?
No, actually just came to me.
Okay, I like it. Go with the flow. I smell the Prosecco on you. Mariah's drinking tonight, guys.
In my Golden Girls cup.
So it's the night before Valentine's Day and Friday the 13th too. So fuck all these crazy things at once. Like, what's going on?
Did you leave your cookies out for Jason?
No, I left him a bunch of butcher knives and a hockey mask.
There you go.
Because in every movie he switches up the mask. It seems like.
Yeah, he does.
We got the boys here.
And each other.
So if you hear some breathing or some craziness, it's because the doggies, Taz and Lorenzo, are right here, just chilling. And yeah, so it's Friday the 13th. I'm planning on us watching some Friday the 13th movies because I love those movies. Those are one of my favorite horror movies of all time. What do you think of that? Which one's your favorite one? Even know?
No.
I don't think you're that. You see, I don't think you're that much of a fan.
I'm not that.
You're a poser.
Excuse me. I'm just going off all the memes I saw all day.
Okay, well.
When I was getting my hair did. So.
I have to say that one of my favorite ones of the bunch is the one with my boy Corey Feldman, which is Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. I don't know what it is about that one. I do like the way that Jason acts on that one. He's like, I think that one's extra scary, I think. So, and Corey Feldman's scary himself. Just kidding.
Yeah, well,
just kidding. He's a kid.
He did good, though.
No, he did.
Yeah.
But at the end, he gets creepy. Like when he shaves his head and he chops up Jason and all that, he gets creepy. Like it's scary. But anytime I watch that one, for me, like, I don't know what it is. It gets my adrenaline pumping. And I think they made however they did the Jason. It's the way they shot it, the music they used. Jason was like semi-human, not like, I don't know. They made him later on in the movies. I think they made him like more than human. And that to me never gets scary. It's like, okay, like that's not realistic. So I have to, for me to enjoy a scary movie, I have to believe that the character is real and that this is possible, that this could happen. And in the later movies, it didn't do anything for me. Like the one where he had superpowers on.
It just gets cheesy.
Yeah, I don't like that craps. Jason 7, Friday the 13th Part 7, that one gets a major 2 thumbs down from me.
Big.
Yeah. I'm impartial to the Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell, the 90s one. I love that one. I'm pretty sure that the one that he goes to space is just as bad.
Oh, God.
Just as bad. My God. It came out in like 2000 or 2001, somewhere in the early 2000s, and he goes to space. They had frozen him. It's ridiculous. Oh, my God. Like, they just ruined it. It's kind of like if you ever watched Leprechaun goes to the hood. I love the Leprechaun movies. They're cheesy as hell. But the one where he goes to the hood is just ridiculous. And I think they sent him to space as well. I don't know what the hell it was with the 90s.
What is with space?
I don't know. It's one of those things where I think people just, like, they get bored and they run out of ideas. I'm like, I could have written a better skit than this. Like, for real. It's a better movie plot.
I mean, at that point, I hate to say it, but just, can you make AI do something better? Like, Jesus.
I guarantee you AI can write something better than that. Like, that's probably why AI is coming in to take over people's jobs like that, because there's no effort into it.
Yeah.
Lazy motherfuckers. It's really
just trying to push shit out. And it's like, can we do quality? Like,
yeah.
Have something good?
Yeah. So, how was your week?
Week was good. Just busy. I had today off because it was hair day. And then my mama's birthday was Tuesday. So
happy birthday, Mama.
Happy birthday, Mama. And then after my hair, I went and took her a bunch of roses. Luckily, Safeway was bursting at the seams with flowers.
I love it. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So hung out with them, and now here with you guys and the babies.
I love it. And what's the plans for Valentine's Day tomorrow? What's going to be the big thing to do?
Well, we're gonna make our pizzas.
What kind of pizzas? How many pizzas? Like, what do we do?
Well, last you said, I think it was like 3 or 4, wasn't it? Which I'm like
3.
Okay, I was like, do we need that? I mean, granted, they're not that big of pizzas and they're thin, but a pesto chicken, pepperoni, black olive, and then probably barbecue.
So wait a minute. You first said right now, do we really need that many? And you're asking me, the guy that loves buffets, variety, and I like to switch it up, and I want a little bit of everything. Like, you can't ask me that. You ask me that, and I'm going to tell you, I want literally everything. You can't make me choose. Yes, fuck. That variety's the fucking best thing in life.
We got to get the dough.
Yes, we do have to get the dough because
my mixer broke.
Damn mixer's broken. But we're going to make the rest of it ourselves. So I have a sauce that I made earlier that's in the refrigerator for 24 hours.
Yes.
I made that from scratch.
So good.
We're going to do a barbecue sauce. So that one, the red sauce one's going to be pepperoni, black olive, Canadian bacon, probably some pineapple. Who knows? The second one will be a
obviously we're pineapple people.
Yes.
Pineapple
fuck
pizza
you if you don't
people.
like pineapple. I don't give a fuck. The second one will be a barbecue chicken pizza. So we'll have chicken, pineapple. I like to put bacon on it, red onion, and cilantro and jalapenos. I love the sweet and
Jalapenos?
Jalapenos. I like this the jarred ones. I like the sweet and the spiciness in that, and then that barbecue sauce is just oh my god.
Oh my god.
And then the third one will be a pesto chicken pizza, and with that one, obviously, we're gonna do chicken, pesto sauce. We're gonna do red onion, some bacon on it, and some basil after the fact, and probably tomatoes on top. So it's gonna be legit.
Caprese too.
Oh, we're doing caprese as well.
Yeah.
And
and then we have the chocolate covered strawberries.
Yeah. So I got you some things.
So Poppy surprised me when I got home today. He had some flowers waiting for me, a box of chocolates, 2 pieces. Well, so we always do. Have we talked about it on here?
I don't think we have.
The Safeway $5 deals on Friday.
$5 Friday.
Yeah, $5 Friday for their cake slices. So there was a lemon blueberry, because that's my favorite, and then a chocolate one, and then chocolate covered strawberry.
You can tell we're food people because that's all we've been talking about so far in this.
I wanted that cake so bad this week.
Yeah, you wanted it all week and we just didn't make it happen, but I went and got it today because I don't want to deal with people tomorrow.
Valentine's Day being on a Saturday, I'm sure it's going to be
And I don't. We've made this a tradition where on Valentine's Day, we do not go out because we don't like to be out in unless it's a concert, and even then it's pushing it. I don't like to be in big crowds, and I like to isolate. I like to be with my puppies and with you, obviously, and in the comfort of our home. So we've made it a tradition where I think we've been doing pizza every year now for Valentine's Day.
Well, because even that one year we
Picks
bought it from Mi Familia, downtown Oregon City. Delicious.
So we've been doing pizza on Thanksgiving.
I mean, I'm down.
Yeah. We've been doing pizza for Valentine's Day for the last couple of years, and it's our thing now. So and we make them. I like making the pizzas. It's fun making pizzas with you.
And who's the best at rolling out the dough?
That's you. I can't do it. I suck at that. Any baking things I just can't do, but I can do everything else. Let's see. So
what about you? How's your week?
My week was, man, it's been fucking busy. I know I say that every week, but it just seems like life is just getting busier and busier for me. Which is a good thing, especially with music. The podcasts, I keep doing interviews. Like, I feel so bad for my guests. I keep telling them when I get them on, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm like 2 or 3 months behind right now in episodes because I only release 1 episode a week. And I'm still, as I'm releasing episodes, I'm doing 2 or 3, sometimes 4 interviews in that week while I'm still releasing episodes. So they're just stacking up. So at some point, I'm probably going to have to cut it off, but I'm enjoying this or slow it down. Well, yeah, slow it down maybe to 1 a week or something. But I am really enjoying these conversations I'm having with people because like the point of this podcast, honestly, and I'm getting the feedback from people is that I want to uplift. I want to inspire. I want to give hope. I want people to feel empowered, and I want people to know that there's people out there that, you know, are going through similar things as them. Yeah. Maybe they're going through worse things as them. Maybe they're not going through as many bad things as them. You know, like just sharing these stories and having communication with people and having that human touch, I think is very important, especially nowadays with social media where it's so simple to just post up a comment or a post and then everyone starts arguing and then you don't get to, I just don't like any of that stuff. I mean, I do kind of to an extent. I can be a troll, but I know my mouth gets me in trouble. But I think with this podcast, I keep saying, like, I want it to be positive and I want it to be uplifting and I want it to do great things for people. And I want it to be an open invite to everybody. And that's why I constantly tell people, I'm like, please refrain as much as you can from politics and from speaking about religion, which, you know, if someone talks about it, whatever, it's not me really throwing my opinions on it. It's just they're like, who am I to tell you what you can or can't say? But I ask you for my guests to please try to refrain from it just because I don't want people on this podcast that listen to be like, oh, they're on this side or, oh, they're on that side. So I can't listen to this. I don't want to split people up in this. If you go on my Facebook and you want to know how I really feel, I went off on a tangent rant like on Facebook a couple of days ago, or was it yesterday? I went off yesterday and you'll know exactly where I stand in this. And I'm not on one side or the other. I hate both sides. Yep. And that's as much as you're going to get out of me, honestly, because I consider myself in the middle. And I can be friends with everybody. I don't care how you think or believe. Just treat people good. Just be a good person. And what you think is your own personal thing. I don't ask you what your, favorite music is or your favorite sexual position or any of that crap is. You know what I mean? Like, that's personal shit. You don't.
What's your favorite sexual position? No, just kidding.
We're going down that path. It's not Prosecco talking with Mariah. But to me, religion and politics are personal. But somehow social media has made it where like everyone now needs to know what you believe and what you feel and all this
and
crap.
It also kind of sucks too that it's like you like social media and all that stuff like makes you feel like you should be ashamed for it almost. Like no matter like what side it is or what your religion is or if you do have faith or whatever, like, you know, like you should be ashamed. It's like I'm not.
Well, people have these stereotypes, and I'm guilty of it myself. When you hear that someone is this or that, or they believe that, then you think about all the stereotypes that come along with that,
Yeah,
and it's really
true.
easy to fall into that. And then later, you get to know the person. You're like, wow, they were definitely not everything I thought they were. Like all those things that I thought of them, and it shocks you. So I just try not to, like, I don't even want to know if you are this or that as far as your politics or your religions or whatever. I don't care. Are you a good person? That's all that matters.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that kind of to me stems to like, I've always hated like when people are like, instead of just ask, like when you meet somebody and they're like, oh, what do you do? Like, that's the first thing they ask. It's like,
like your job.
What does it fucking matter? Like, that doesn't make me me.
Yeah.
Like, so that's how I say it.
Bad
I'm like,
conversation.
I want to know. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to know you. I don't care what you do. Like, I mean, as long as you're happy, healthy, all that stuff, like, who gives a shit? Who are you? Like, I want to know you. I don't care about your materialistic crap. Like,
yeah, that's the problem is that people, and I think we mentioned this last week on the episode where people take their job titles too seriously. They fall into that category, and it's like, dude, we spend so much time in our day jobs. Like, why let it continue to define who you are and take over your life when you're out of there? You're not even getting paid. Like, are you getting paid to be promoting your job or whatever? Like, I guarantee you're probably not off the clock. So,
and then guess what? Your company, if it comes down to it, and their bottom line, you're done. If they have to pull the trigger to save money, no matter what you've done, no matter how great you've been, no matter how long you've been there, blood, sweat, tears. If it makes sense to get rid of you for their bottom line, bye.
So I've been saying this before because I've seen too many friends and family, personal close friends and family that dedicate so much of their time, so many years, so many hours, so many years sacrificing family time and, you know, other opportunities that they could be doing. And then next thing they're in X amount of years. And then all of a sudden the company's like, all right, we're downsizing. And then you now have lost your job. And now that loyalty didn't mean shit at the end of the day. The companies don't care about you. So this is how I live my life. I do my job. I do enough not to get fired. I do a little extra because it's not hard for me to do the extra to still stand out from the rest because there is a lot of lazy motherfuckers out there and it is what it is. But I don't let my job define me. I do not invest all my time and energy in like what my job is for me. It just pays the bills. That's it. And lucky for me, I actually do enjoy my current role that I'm in right now. I love it because I have awesome coworkers. I have a great boss and the job it challenges me at times, but at the same time, it's like,
you don't dread going.
I don't dread going there. Yeah. So I'm very lucky and blessed for that. But I still know that company will have no problem cutting people when they need to, especially nowadays because all the big companies are looking for that. How can we save money? How can we save money? How can we save money?
Which is so funny because it used to be, obviously, keyword used to be, a big red flag or a bad look on a company when they lay people off or do, you know, what we call reductions in force, so a RIF or position elimination, whatever it may be. That was kind of like, oh, you did that, but now it's just kind of like, whatever, everybody does it. It's just whatever, here we go. So that's where I will always tell you, obviously, again, being in HR, show up to your role, do what you got to do at least everything in your job description that you're supposed to. You don't have to like the people that you work with. You don't have to be their friends, but be professional, be courteous, just do your job, leave it and go home. Because again, obviously, if you feel you need to do the extra mile, whatever, but just keep in mind, again, when the company, if and when, needs to make that cut and you're on that list, they're not going to care about those nights that you stayed 2 hours later or an hour later and missed your daughter's soccer game or whatever. They don't give a shit.
And with that being said, I would say don't bring your job home with you. And what I mean by that is like the stresses of the job that you just did or you're leaving from, leave those at the door of the office. Don't bring them home because that can affect your relationships. That can affect your mood. That can cause you to go down a dark path of like for me, you could go into drinking and doing drugs and all that kind of stuff. Like it's done for me in the past, and that was my coping ways. But it can also ruin your relationships if you bring back all that negative energy and your anger and frustration, take it out on your partner or your kids or whatever. You're gonna damage things. You're gonna ruin people and ruin your relationships. It's not worth it. Don't let your job consume you like that. Seriously.
It's like once you get in the mindset, especially in the corporate land, of just how to play the game, just let it go and play the game. I mean, that's a game changer.
Yep.
Just show up and just with a smile and say, it is what it is. Don't fight the change. If you were fighting for change or put all this work into a policy change or whatever, procedure change, whatever it may be, and then the powers that be, your senior leadership, take 6 months and then they deny it, it is what it is, man. Just remember, you got paid for your time. Don't take it personal. Otherwise, it's just going to eat you alive. Just show up and just say, all right, on to the next thing.
Keep moving along. So, this week, actually, we shot a video. I think we talked about that in the last podcast. Shot a video for the next single. So I'm excited for that. It turned out awesome. Brick has been working very hard on it and killing it, obviously, like always. So shout out to my drummer, Brick, who also is an amazing videographer. We had a blast doing it. We worked with Johnny Santos on the video and on the song and all that. So shout out to Johnny as well. And let's see, we're on the middle of finishing up another song because we're trying to wrap up the album. So Justin has been hard at work with that, with Brick and with Rommel. So shout out to them for getting that work in for a newer song that I'll be recording vocals with Johnny next week. And tonight, I won't go too into it because it hasn't been announced or anything, but tonight, another great opportunity with a very well-known name out there fell on my lap. So it's music related. It's not naughty, but another huge opportunity for me fell on my lap, and I'm very excited for that. So very thankful for that and the people involved in that. So that's all I'll say for now.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah. And then let's see, what do we got? We're getting ready for tour. Not right now, but we're getting ready for tour for the summer. So we've been working on getting dates lined up for that. We leave for Reno to play with Drowning Pool we're leaving the 27th down to Reno, Nevada, or again, I guess it's called Fernley, Nevada, which is a suburb of Reno. We'll be playing with the band Drowning Pool. If you remember, let the bodies hit the flow. Let the bodies hit the flow. Let the bodies hit the... Yeah. There we go. So we'll be playing with them. I'm very excited. Fun fact is I actually was on stage with them not too long ago, some years back. Sal.
2022, wasn't it?
Something like that. 2022, 2023. Sal, the guitar player from Il Nino, recognized me out in the crowd when I went to go see Il Nino and Drowning Pool and Head PE here in Portland. This is back when I was drinking. He invited me to go take some shots with him. Next thing he's like, you're coming on stage with us. We're going to go sing
cool.
Bodies with Drowning Pools. Took me on stage. We got to sing Bodies with Drowning Pool. There's video footage of it out there. That was pretty cool. Also, a fun fact is that I got to see Drowning Pool when their original singer, Dave Williams, rest in peace, was alive. So I got to see them right before they really were blowing up at the Ozfest 2001 when I was like 14. So some little history there with Drowning Pool, which is cool. So shout out to Drowning Pool. We're excited to play with you guys. It's going to be a good time. The show's been getting promoted like crazy, so we're very excited for that. So that's about all I have for this week. Tomorrow's going to be fun. So I guess we'll get to the question of the week. This week, we didn't get as many people as I thought would respond. I don't know why. Probably busy week. People not paying attention, whatever. Question of this week. And I thought that this question was great. I don't know why people just didn't respond, whatever. All right. What belief did you have to unlearn in order to grow? Sometimes growth isn't about adding something new. It's about letting go of something outdated. Where do you think that belief came from? Family, culture, past trauma, experience? How was it limiting you? What changed your perspective? Who did you become after you let it go? What would you tell someone still holding on to it? What part of your identity had to evolve? Did it affect your relationships or self-worth? What replaced it? A new belief or uncertainty? Yeah. It's like I said, this is a good one. It gets you thinking. It makes you think. And I think I have my response like right away. Once I saw that I was like, what am I going to do? What am I say? I wasn't sure, but I thought about it, and I know what my answer is. So I will say mine after the fact. So first person to respond was my buddy, Steve Helmer. He said, you do not need to be the best. You just have to be the only one. Jerry Garcia. Yes. There is only one Grateful Dead. Facts. And then he continued and said, if it sounds good, It is good. Edward Van Halen. Always focus on your strengths, never on your weakness. Steve Vibe. What makes you think you are better than you? Braxton Henry. I need to write a book. Haha. Cheers. Oh, yeah, Steve. I mean, I agree with all those to an extent. I would say the Steve Vai one, always focus on your strengths, never on your weakness. Yes, I think it's important to sell. You got to sell your strengths. But if you're not self-aware of your weaknesses and you're not working on those, then you're not doing yourself any good. So you should be working on those on the back end, maybe not expose them.
But at least be
honest
to yourself.
Yes.
And know your, as we always say, your areas of opportunities.
Yeah. Well, because there's no one that's perfect out there.
No.
And even the best of the best always have something that they can work on. And people that are the best at something are usually go-getters. So they're already probably working on something else. Once you get comfortable and if you get comfortable and you don't try to improve, you're going to get passed up because there's always going to be someone that's going to be working that much harder than you and trying to up you. So that's what drives me every morning. Wake up and it's like, okay, I got to be better than I was yesterday. You know what I mean?
I wake up and I'm like, where's the coffee?
Yeah. Or like, if this is too early for your shit, Cody. I'm not.
Well, when it's 5:30 a.m. and you're like, what should we do for dinner? And I'm like, I'm not even alive.
Yeah. That's me though. That's who I am. You signed up for it. All right. The next one is coming in from Lindsay Uliski. I hope I said that right, but Lindsay's a friend of ours, so she'll forgive me. I had the mentality, without realizing it, that everyone else around me needed to be happy before I was allowed to be genuinely happy, and their happiness was dependent on me. Once I realized that's what I was doing to myself, I really started finding who I was.
Yeah. Yep.
So true. Like, I 100% can see that. Like, I think a lot of us fall into that. And
for sure.
It's like, okay, at what point am I going to worry about my happiness? Oh, yeah, Lindsay, I would agree that I think that this is some good sound advice right here, because I think many of us have fallen into that. And sometimes we come in and out of it, but like, I know for me, so for example, like, I already know that I have a reputation for being an asshole. People assume certain things because of what they've read online, or because who they think I am based off of what they read online, or maybe they heard someone that had a bad experience with me or something like that. So now, like, what I normally try to do when I meet someone new, I try to smile, I try to be friendly, I try to be not so like in your face and intense that I could be sometimes, just to let people know that, hey, I'm not like whatever you think I am. Like, you're going to be surprised, and fucking I'm just not, I'm not those mean things you may think that I am. And I try to be as friendly as possible as I can. But that, with that being said, I always remember too, it's like, well, I got to be myself too. I can't just completely change who I am to make other people feel comfortable or happy or whatnot. You got to still be yourself. So it's a balancing thing.
Yeah, I agree.
How would you feel?
I mean, kind of the same. I mean, like, how were you raised, like all that type of stuff too. So it's easy to be, especially like, I think when we were growing up, it's like you need to do what I say first, like parents and stuff, like make sure everybody else is good, make sure they're happy. It's like, then I feel like for me, it kind of made me a people pleaser for a long time too, especially in my younger years, to a point. But maybe I was too nice when I didn't need to be, because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings or whatever, what have you. And now I'm just like, I'm not.
What sucks is when people take advantage of that, because there's people out there that will.
That's the thing. Every time I was nice like that, I was taken advantage of. So that's where now it's like, I'm not mean, but I'm definitely not going to do things I don't want to do. Like, I put me first. Yeah,
it comes down to, like, especially like when I think about like friendships, relationships, business relationships, and that kind of stuff. It's kind of you kind of have to meet in the middle. Like, for certain things, like if I'm working with a group of people and they want something a certain way, and then I want something a certain way, we have to find out, okay, what's the most important, what's the ultimate goal here, and how do we get there, and how do you get what you want out of this, how do I get what I want out of this, and even if there are very different things that we're wanting out of this, how can we work together to get the ultimate goal done? And it's balance, and you got to also watch out, like I said, for those people that will, like, look out for people that are people pleasers and take advantage of you.
Especially females.
Like females that will take advantage, or females that are taken advantage of? Well,
probably both. But I think especially being a female that's a people pleaser, that's where I like had problems where guys would be like, and it's like, whoa. Why did you just grab my tit, dude? Like,
you're being extra creepy with that.
I put the creep and creepy.
You definitely do. I'm not going to argue that. All right. The next one is from one of our guests from an earlier show, Mr. Joshua Holland. I always love hearing what he has to say because he's very good at how he words things and very smart dude. He said, I have a laundry list, but one that has affected me in business deeply was the fact that much of my career was built on quicksand. Bands I was in that became flaky. Bands I recorded that broke up immediately after finishing an album, and the proof of quality disappears. Working hard to build a skill set, but those skill sets make others uncomfortable, and learning incorrectly to diminish myself to make others feel better. Making agreements in business based on trust with people that don't have the same value to loyalty and commitment. I had to learn that being confident is not the same as egotistical, which was the thing I never wanted to be. So I always talked about my value in a way that was more passive and less direct. My business is finally seeing much stronger success and notoriety from finally owning who I am, quality that I provide, and the passion I have unapologetically. Sorry, I'm reading this off my phone today because it just was easier. So it's honestly still uncomfortable and it rubs some people the wrong way, but it's still correct, and reducing my perceived value for someone not willing to do the same level of work is sabotaging my success for someone not even working towards it. Yes, I 100% agree with that. Like, don't water yourself down for people that can't keep up, or don't like let your boat sink because you got dead weight with you. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things like where there is a fine balance between ego and knowing your self-worth and confidence.
Being confident in yourself.
Yeah, like
just being a prick.
Well, because you can see it right away. Like, I think we were talking about this earlier, where people will sometimes like try to sell you, and unfortunately in the music business, it seems like this happens a lot, where people will tell you a bunch of things like, oh yeah, my band's opening up for this, or we're going to be on this festival, or I'm going to be working with this so-and-so person. And then that shit never happens. Like, they start speaking about it so soon. Like, maybe there was something in the works behind the scenes and it fell through, maybe, but maybe you also shouldn't have been opening your mouth until you had something there to brag about and it was finished. But in a lot of cases, what I found, unfortunately, is that people are just lying. I don't know, like there's a lot of delusional artists, unfortunately, especially in the underground scene, that I've seen that, and I've always told myself I will never be one of those people. And I've had people straight up lie to my face and tell me, like, and I won't name names, but yeah, we're going to be playing with Slipknot, and they're going to be playing at the Star Theater. If you know what the Star Theater is in Portland, it's like, I don't know, I think they hold maybe 300 people there, maybe 300. I have no idea. It's in downtown Portland. And this guy literally tried telling me that Slipknot was going to be playing an underground show and his band was going to be opening up that show, and that no one knew, but his band of all bands was going to be on there. And he's looking at me like straight in the face telling me this. And I'm just like, the whole time I'm like, I know you're bullshitting me. They would never do that. And why would your band like be involved in that? I've seen like what you do and like what's your connection to them, like just straight up lying to me. And this guy was notorious for lying about everything. Wild. It is wild. And so unfortunately in the music scene, and I don't know, it's probably like this in other genres, but I can speak for the metal and heavy hard rock side. It's like everyone has a story of some tall tales that they tell, and it's like, okay, dude, the proof is in the doing, not the talking. And there's a lot of talking going on. So, and I lose mad respect for people once I start seeing that you're one of those people that's just a talker and not doing, and you're just making up stories. Man, your credibility, and not just in music but in everything else, is completely shot with me. And you're a joke to me, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. No. So I thought it was Portland. Okay. It is not. From my touring experience of going to other areas and parts of the country and other states and other cities, I have found that this is the case. And I've said this many times. It is. Yeah. Well, it's just, here's the thing. Like, we want to believe our own hype sometimes. And don't get high on your own supply. Like, you should definitely talk yourself up. That's part of the business, but don't believe your own hype, and don't be making up lies, and don't be losing credibility. Yeah, that's just the thing. Don't be making up shit and people know you're full of shit. Like, you want to be that person? No, yeah. I don't know. Like, yes, hype yourself up, but mindfully. Yeah, it's garbage to lie and tell people, because people find out eventually. The truth comes out. And it doesn't make you look good. No. So then it was like, you shouldn't have just said anything at all. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Next one is from Steve Metzler. Left Christian church, now study and follow paganism. And then he continued, said, exactly, was raised under Christianity, had bad experience with church, left that behind, found what I was looking for. I think that's great. Like, if something doesn't work for you, just because it works for others doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. And just because something works for you doesn't mean it works for others. So I think it's great that, Steve, you found something that works for you, and whatever makes you a better person and makes you have better beliefs and morals and guidance.
Yeah, whatever helps you,
Get
be
through.
the best you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. And like I've said before, like I don't preach, I don't try to preach religion or anything on anybody else. I feel like it's a personal thing. Like whatever works for people. Your religion is your religion. It's your own personal belief. I don't like it when people preach to me. So like you get, I won't name any specific religions, but people I think will know out there what religions I'm talking about that come and knock on your door and try to get you to buy into theirs. Like I said, to each their own on how you believe and how you worship and how you pray and all that type of stuff. But I think I am very against people preaching their religions on me and trying to get me to buy in. I don't want that. If I'm curious enough, I'll go look into it.
I just feel like with that type of stuff, to me, it's kind of a red flag to me. And then even, I mean, I'm not going to say artists, but ones that were never like say religious or whatever. And then all of a sudden that they've made it quote unquote big. And now that's all they preach on stage is God, Jesus, or whomever. To me, that's kind of a red flag too. I'm like, this is weird. Not that they can't find that, but you know what I mean? When they're not living that life, but then when they're on stage in front of people, they're
putting on a front, you think?
Yeah, a false.
With all the stuff that we're seeing right now with celebrities and the craziness with the Epstein files and whatnot, I almost wonder like if some of those artists that are saying and preaching that are saying that because they know and have seen some fucked up shit. So that's something to think about. Yes. You know, I like to play devil's advocate and challenge things like that.
But at the end of the day, always use your own discernment.
Yes, agreed. So good for you, Steve. I'm happy for you, man. That's awesome. I'll let you read this one since I am terrible at reading right now.
All right, Kyrus Emberborn. So the belief I had to unlearn was that love meant staying silent to keep the peace, and stifling my own needs made me easier to love. This came from experience with my family. I was only enjoyed when I didn't speak up or need anything. So polite and helpful is how strangers would describe me. Little did they know I was desperately seeking affection and validation and determination to prove that I was worth loving. A book I read in 2012 prior to open my third eye on this. It's called Conversations with God by Neely Donald Walsh. I might have butchered that, sorry. And it taught me that being my full authentic self was the most on purpose way I could live. This begun my first steps into discovering who I was for the first time without all the bullshit my family had piled on me. I would tell someone still struggling with this that there is only one unique you, cute, I like that, that exists, and you'll deprive the world of your sparkle of you, or if you continue to make yourself small to placate another. You have the obligation to shine. Now go make some mistakes. Just being your unapologetic self, because you are you. And no, you don't need to sugarcoat it or wash it down, no matter how we were taught or raised or,
And I love the encouraging of making mistakes, because that really is the part of growing and, knowing what works and what doesn't work for you. So being okay with the fact that you're going to make mistakes, that you're going to fall down. It's like riding the bike. You're going to fall down, you're going to hurt yourself or whatever, but you get back up on it and you keep going. And then
to that too, I mean, you might upset people as well, especially if you were, again, maybe in like the dimming your light down to appease others, or maybe a people pleaser, whatever that is. So once you start taking your light back and owning you, people might, get upset because you're not, falling for their bullshit or, doing what you've normally done for them or whatever it may be. But it's just keeping your head high and getting past that.
And it sucks when you hear that someone was not allowed to speak up and there was silence and that kind of stuff. That does suck to hear that someone's treated like that. But at the same time, I think that sometimes it can either do a couple things. It can create someone to be just that person that just doesn't speak up at all, and it affects them like that for the rest of their life and they're not able to. Or it can create someone, which I'm assuming like it happened in this case, where it's made you a stronger person and you're now more vocal. And I can tell by the way you write with when you respond to our posts.
Mm-hmm.
So you're more vocal, you're able to share your thoughts, and your thoughts they're well explained, and they come with wisdom. I can tell there's wisdom behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that, and I think that if anything, it's built character. So
Totally.
it's kind of like that thing where if you grow up in a household where maybe you grew up around parents that were alcoholics or drug addicts or whatever, you have the choice of how you're going to be, based off of that. You can go one route, which is, yes, I'm going to be an alcoholic. I'm going to be a drug addict. I'm going to fall apart and just blame my parents for the rest of my whole life. Or you can go the complete opposite way and be like, you know what? I've seen what that does. I don't want to be anything like that. And because of what I lived through watching it and how it's destroyed people that I was close to and that I loved in my environment, I'm not going to do that to my kids. I'm not going to do that in my life. I'm not going to do that for myself. I'm going to do better. And I love it when I see people take the opposite route. It's always weird when you see, I wouldn't say weird. I always think it's inspiring and moves me when people are completely different than the toxic and crazy environments that they were born and raised into, because you see it more often than not when people choose the route to self-destroy and follow in the footsteps of the destructive behaviors of their environment when they were growing up. So I love seeing things like this where people build character and choose to be better.
Like, you always have great feedback. Thank you, Curious.
Yeah, I always enjoy it. So that is all for now.
It's a shorty short.
This was a short one. So thank you guys all for tuning in, and stick around because my guest today on this podcast episode is going to be my friend Brandon Sills. Brandon is a character. I love him. He is a former American Overdose member. I know this is the second week of us having a former American Overdose member on the show, but Brandon was the bass player, the Great American Dream album, the second album that we put out, and he's just been a good longtime friend of mine, and very glad to have him on an episode. So stick around, check it out. It's a great episode, and especially for you folks that are into music or into the techie equipment type of stuff, Brandon gets into that, and we go down that path. But Brandon is always a joy to talk to, so stick around, listen to the podcast, and thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you tell everybody about the Liquid Shape podcast. Make sure you follow and subscribe, and continue, please, to provide feedback on the questions of the week, because that's always sparks great conversation here.
And it's so much fun just to hear, everybody's experiences and how they've grown and have navigated this thing we call life.
Yeah, I love it. So stick around. The segment 2 with Brandon Sills is up next. What's going on, everybody? This is Cody with the Liquid Shape podcast. And I'm very excited today because I have a really good friend of mine and former bandmate in American Overdose, Brandon Sills. What's going on, buddy?
What's be happening?
I'm excited to have you on here, man.
This is going to be a fun time, I would say. It changes up the dynamics of what my days normally have been.
Hell yeah. I saw you posted about that. What's been going on?
Let's say we've been dealing with a questionable tenant who I believe has significant enough mental health problems, which we've been constantly talking with the sheriff's office. We've contacted the 24-hour crisis line to try to get this person some help, but they tend to reject it. And the people that come by and try to check on them and everything, they end up leaving. They can't really do much, because if they do, then there's the possibility that there could be a lawsuit for kidnapping or whatever. It's a very fascinating time, because the guy's been causing at least 50% of the property some stress, and I'm working on navigating some of that with some of the people here while navigating it myself, just so that I'm not too invested in it, but making sure that everybody knows that they have resources that they can utilize in the event if they need to contact the authorities because of serious things.
That's wild, dude. So, I mean, I get that they literally can't force someone to go get help or anything like that if they're just not wanting it. And as long as they're, so what kind of things are they doing? And because I know you've had problems, we've talked about this. You've had problems with tenants doing some weird, shady things even to you. But what are these people doing?
So this dude, he has an apartment on my floor, and he has not been sleeping in it for probably 2 or 3 months, or maybe longer. I'm only becoming more and more aware of the guy recently, but he sleeps in the commons area where we have tables, couches, a TV, a microwave, and a mini kitchen, that kind of a thing. And then there's another part of the commons area where it's like access to the laundry facilities and the elevator on the property. And he's like sleeping all over there. And during certain hours of the day, he's taking advantage of the food pantry that's meant to help most of the other tenants here. So he's kind of like, he's half eating and half consuming like granola bars and like apple juice and everything, and then just like leaving it out or putting it in the trash and just like contributing to waste essentially.
God. Yeah,
So,
I wonder if management's not really doing anything much about it then, or they can't.
and the only thing that we've gotten from management is remedial action is being taken. And I can understand that coming from I guess like it's like the legal purposes of things. If a lawyer is representing you, or if multiple lawyers are representing you in like the agency or the management company, there's only so much that you can say. And I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt in respect to kind of do like their job in particular. So I'm not trying to like dive into their affairs any further and just wait to see like how they are handling things in particular. But at the very least, that's one of the other few things where, like, being in therapy for like 7 or 8 years now, it's kind of like you're armed with the tools to deal with the stress that comes with wanting to know, is there something being done, and being able to kind of like pull it back and be like, trust the process.
But that's what sucks is like with situations like that, it's like you just, I mean, you're kind of like, what do you do? And then it's uncomfortable because you live there and that's supposed to be your place of peace. And then when you have chaos like that going on, it's like, what do you do? It drives you nuts. I hope it gets better, man. That doesn't sound like a good situation. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about, tell the audience and everyone about yourself, who you are, what you do, and just let the audience get to know who Brandon Sills is.
Internally, a wild ass motherfucker. No, I'd say like, well, to start off, my name's Brandon, or as some would say, Brandon Sills. I've been a musician for almost 30 years. I've been teaching myself more and more than taking lessons. I've had a couple of lessons with some people and thankful for them. I've been in multiple bands, including AOD, American Overdose. I'm grateful for a lot of the opportunities that I've been offered or got a chance to earn by showing what I can do or having something to say or whatever.
You're a very talented musician. I'll say that. You're a multi-instrumentalist, and I've seen the work that you do and the work that you obviously have been a part of with us, but you're a very talented dude. I'll just flat out say that to the listeners out there. Keep going on. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I do appreciate. Yeah, I've been pretty much for the last 30 years just, playing, learning, doing whatever I can to kind of like grow as somebody that understands how to deal with like mixing aspects, production aspects, writing, recording, technology, like you name it. I'm trying to get my fingers in everything.
What are you using? Like, what are you using to record, like machine-wise or hardware-wise and software-wise? Like, what kind of things do you use?
As of this year, I have a Mac Studio. It's fitted with the M2 Ultra with 128 gigs of memory.
Nice.
So if I'm looking to do large projects that are like orchestral in nature, I have the ability to set up probably like a 250 to 450 track session just for the different articulations if I want to go that route. What I'm feeding through all of this is I recently went from a Presonus Quantum HD 8 interface to a Focusrite Scarlett 18i 24th gen, and most of my issues that I had with the Presonus interface resolved. And then see here, I've got a Neural DSP Quad Cortex for guitar related stuff, which
Hell yeah.
which is the Solar A1.7 TBR, an Ibanez RG7421 PB, which looks sexy as hell for the color.
Yeah.
And a Schecter C5 Deluxe, I believe.
I have a mad love for Ibanez and Schecter, so you got me there, buddy. What are you using for a DAW?
I own 7 or 8 different DAWs. That's not trying to be a flex. It's me just being like, hey, like I find certain things in certain ones that tend to overpower other ones. It's just like the feature sets are kind of like a different deal. But as of the current conversation, Reaper is actually open. I've known that one for more than a decade, but also working on it in Mac is kind of a different game than it is on Windows 10 when I was doing it on that. But I also do, like, with the list that I have here, because I can pull it up right now, is where Reaper is the first Dawn line, but it's not my first pick all the time. Then I've got Studio One 7, I've got Ableton 12 Suite, then I've got Cubase 14 Pro, Logic Pro, Pro Tools, and FL Studio. I don't know why, honestly, I have that installed anymore. But each one serves a purpose, actually, because there's tools in each one that can get you the result you're looking for, whether it's if you're live recording MIDI or audio, and if you're wanting to edit certain things, there's just something to every single one that has something. The one thing that I've done with Reaper is set up scale locking. So if you're working on music in the form of you got something in D minor, you can keep it to those notes instead of guessing where those notes might be, and just being able to like kind of improve the speed of your workflow on top of a global sampler. So at any time that I'm operating the project, if I want it or need it, I can have 60 seconds of constant recording and re-recording in a toolbar above my timeline. If I want something in particular, I can highlight it and drag it into the timeline and never lose it. And then there's also importing those kinds of things into a third-party sampler like Contact or Pigments, Phase Plant, you name it, whatever it is, Falcon. So I'm able to do these things so that I can do additional sound design or find something useful for synthesis and take these sounds and push them into different territories where you could say, like, I took a sample of a tire screeching from a YouTube video and turned it into a wavetable. And then suddenly you have like this weird synthesizer sound that's like it was made from a tire.
Do you ever lose projects that way? I'm thinking about all those DAWs you mentioned. I'm like, my brain feels like it'd be fried from that. I have hard enough time with Pro Tools and Ableton, and we only use Ableton because we have to use it for live purposes.
Yeah.
But man, having that many DAWs, I don't know if I could, like, I'd lose projects that way.
The only time I've lost projects was in the PC days when something went awry and it caused coil whine with a graphics card, and then the entire build just shorted out. I think I lost like 2 or 3 hard drives completely, and some of those had projects spanning as far back as 2010 that I'll never be able to get back or remember that I had them unless if I find the MP3 or the WAV file. But I still have some of those in an external drive, but I don't tend to lose track of where my projects are at as long as I remember code names for them. If I'm just starting them fresh before renaming them when they're completed, then it's not that difficult. The other trick I have with that, where is my there it is. Okay. At the same time I'm doing this, I'm also looking at one of my external drives that I do put all of my recordings into. So if I have like a folder like old root data, it's because I'm sorting through most of it. So I'll have folders for something like one folder for FL Studio, one for Ableton, one for Logic, and so forth. And I kind of bury those with other things as well, such as do I want it to be genre or date based, and then give the name for the project. Things that I learned from these webinars that I took back in the late 2010s, I think, with Devin Townsend, because that was something that he had mentioned that he kind of did with his workflow when he's working on stuff in Pro Tools, because that's his main deal. Like he might have something ambient or he might have something that's just like heavy, and he'll have like these different tags for those kinds of projects, and they'd be sorted enough that he could find them in an instant.
That's like I said, more power to you. You must have it organized and in a way that makes sense to you. Like I said, I lose projects just from having 2 different hard drives and whatnot. So what's Brandon up to nowadays, music wise? Like I know we've talked a couple of times the last year, here and there where we got to meet up and hang out and whatnot. But what have you been up to music wise as far as, are you writing for your project? You putting a band together, or plans to play live, or what's going on, Brandon?
Lately, I've actually been doing college. I decided because like the last time I was in college was the fall of 2007. And I had this thing where I was like, okay, like I can retake these classes. They told me at the financial aid department and like everything else, they said, yeah, like this will cover those classes. Like, okay, cool. So I'm going to refresh it because I think I may have like lost my credits or whatever. I ended up getting screwed on that one and stayed away from college for years because I couldn't afford to pay the debt after I thought I'd petitioned it. And then it was June of last year that I sent in an email after registering thinking like, oh, I'm going to play a sick prank on myself because sometimes I like to take the punishment just that tiny little bit. But they're like, we don't have a petition for you on file. I'm like, what the fuck, for real? Okay, well, like let's go through this. And they said usually like your first petition, they automatically accept it if there's a valid reason on play. And I'm like, yeah. The person who was in the only class that financial aid would have covered, basically she treated us as if we were like the therapist, and she was coming in saying like, anytime that I get home from work and I see my husband sitting in the recliner with a cold beer and the chores around the house aren't done, like I raise up. I'm all like, is this basic speech communication for real? Like, I don't think that's like what class is supposed to be. And it felt like that for 4 weeks. And I guess that was part of the accepted thing to understand. Like, I wasn't getting anything out of that class. So I hung away from it. And then from June last year until November, I was getting everything organized and ironed out. And then I got my classes registered for winter and spring earlier this year and completed both of those terms with a 4.0 GPA and stuck it out. And this coming year, next fall, I plan on going back and kind of expanding on the program because there's two tiers that they have to it now. The newest one, which is an Associates of Applied Science, they just got the accreditation to start that in September this year. And I wanted to do it, but I figured like something bad was going to start happening towards the end of the year. My guess would be correct. So I'm waiting until fall of next year to return. So in the meantime, I'm working on trying to kind of get more acclimated to Ableton for the composer and like the sound design states of things, and maybe be of benefit for people that say, I want to hire you to do this or do that, and that maybe I can do it. And I'm still watching a bunch of YouTube tutorials to kind of like catch up on some of those things and studying the history of like the synthwave revival kind of stuff and where the origins of that come from. So like bands or like musicians like Perturbator and Power Glove and Carpenter Brute. And there's roots that go as far back as like John Carpenter and like that era of like synth, because it's like dark and it's kind of a little bit heavy in certain aspects or elements, or like the vibe is just like creepy.
Yes.
But then there's also like the other elements where you add like some high gain guitar to it and it just sounds dope as hell.
She said John Carpenter. I instantly thought, yeah, creepy. Like the stuff that he did on Halloween, man. Oh my God. Like the music, the Halloween music that he did, just amazing. And there's certain soundtracks that I love that just set a mood. Like, and it's like, how did they do that? Like when they're putting music together. I know you mess around a lot with creating like MIDI style music for like video game style, because I think you took one of our songs and you converted it to like MIDI.
And converted it to Nintendo.
Nintendo, yeah, you converted it to Nintendo. Do you submit your work or anything like that to have it and put in video games or movies or anything like that? Or have you been involved in any of that?
I haven't directly, because I'm not very aware of those kinds of resources or like where in particular to kind of like search them out. There was I want to say it was maybe somewhere before I deleted my Twitter account before it became X. I had like some weird ass issue with that platform, but I had a conversation with somebody, I think from Bend Studio out in Bend, the subsidiary of Sony that did Days Gone. I swear I had a conversation with somebody in a very short roundabout that said you contact like the audio director of those places, and that usually you'll get an answer regarding some of your questions, but it's not like you'll automatically get like your foot in the door to like show your chops or whatever.
Have you ever used that app or that program? It's not even a program really. It's like it's pretty much for you to do work on for like all sorts of different types of art. But Fiverr, have you ever used Fiverr? It's for freelance services.
I actually thought about trying that out at some point.
Make some money, man. You can make some money.
I know. I love whoring myself out like that.
There's always people looking for work to be done. You know what I mean? Like there's always someone that wants, like, they need a new jingle or they need something for their video or whatever. And like, I think you're really good at creating stuff, and that'd be an option for you to maybe get your foot in the door. And if you get enough people, you might get some interest from bigger movie producers or something to do work. I mean, that might be your way in, but I don't know.
I mean, the only thing that I can tell right now is whenever I have releases through my distributor at this point, which is CD Baby, like I've noticed lately, starting, I think as early as it was July this year, that I've started receiving royalties off of, I think, mechanical licensing is what it is. And that in itself was kind of a shocker when the first payment came through. I'm like, okay, like I don't have a lot of music out and I don't really promote myself that easily because like two things are true about me. One, I failed English all but one semester in high school. The only semester I didn't get the F grade was a D minus, so I still basically failed. The other is I failed business. So I don't know shit about selling myself. So it's going to be like, yeah, like how do I set up a promo package and try to be like, hey, like I can be fun on one point, but on the other side, like I'm taking the work that I do serious because I do want to like legit have business to do or like be able to do stuff for other people, kind of like a people pleaser.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, how the fuck do I do this?
YouTube, man, YouTube. I know you're always on there.
Yeah, like I'm on there like daily.
I've had to learn that. I was just talking about that with a friend the other day. It's like in today's world, to be a musician, you can't just be the musician or the producer. You have to do everything. You have to be your own marketing guy. You have to be your own promoter. You have to be your own accountant. You have to be your own, like, you're doing inventory. You're doing all sorts of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then come taxes. I don't know if you've filed taxes for your business. For music or anything like that, that's a nightmare too. Like I've been having to do that, keep receipts, and put it in different categories for the IRS to know what exactly where you put every dollar that came back, so that they're not trying to take that money too. It's wild that, you know, in today's world you have to learn to do so many different things. But luckily we have, you know, things like YouTube. I'm always on YouTube looking up something that I don't understand because I'm visual. I don't know if you're a visual person or not, but I have to see things done before I can actually understand them. Like even when I read them, I'm such a visual person. If I read something, I'm like, okay, but what does that look like, or what, you know, I need to see it in action, and then I need to get my hands on it. Are you a hands-on person that has to mess with things, or are you a person that can learn from watching somebody else do it?
I'm kind of a bit of a hybrid. And I'll explain why hybrid, because I can read certain things in like a PDF file, for example, that's just pure text only. I kind of did this in a similar sense with some of the schoolwork that we had for the winter term. We were requested to order this book online, and I still have it around here somewhere, but it's basically like the sciences of audio or sound, and it goes between three realms: acoustic, analog, and digital. And the fact that it was in a book format and I couldn't get it in a PDF file, I actually managed to take pictures of the entire book front to back, shitty lighting, but I was still able to see the diagrams and the text and everything. So I'm reading it on the screen in picture format because to me, it's like, okay, it's visual and I don't have to stare down and mess my neck up and lose my spot. I can actually like focus because the text is larger. But then like I do that and I'm like, okay, I'm able to retain some of this information a lot better. But when it comes to music related things, or like say Absinthe 6, since Native Instruments released that recently, I'm familiar to a degree about Absinthe 5 before Native Instruments was like, we're killing it, because it's also not modern anymore. When 6 came out, I started reading a couple of things, seeing a couple of YouTube videos, and getting a better grasp on how people can get real deep with a platform like that for generating soundscapes or like doing simple bass sounds. I'm like, okay. I start trying to apply some of that concept in using sound sources that I've done myself instead of using what's built in. And if anything else, I'm still learning it, but I'm getting a better grasp of it because of that. So having a hybrid of text and visual actually does work in favor better for me than just text only. If somebody's like, just read this, there's no pictures, just read it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's hard. It's like, because I have to see something, and I guess I don't know if my mind, I always wonder if my mind's picturing what it's describing in the correct way. I don't know if that's a second guessing myself or what, but like, I do like reading books because then I can use my imagination. But I think like when I'm trying to follow directions and whatnot, it's like for something that I need to either assemble or fix or whatever, I just can't do it.
It's kind of like an attention deficit kind of a approach, because you see the text that's there, but at the same time, you have to like look for specific keywords and be like, okay, reference this, try to apply it, and it just isn't connecting.
Well, the worst part is, dude, I 100% guarantee you I have ADHD or ADD, whatever that case may, whatever the official word is for it.
Yeah.
I definitely have it, and I'm unmedicated. So I'm self saying that I have self-diagnosing myself that I have ADHD. I 100% for sure have it. It's just I don't want to get on medication for it. That's the thing, is like I don't like relying on pills. I don't like relying on that kind of stuff. And I understand that I'm doing a disservice to myself. But at the same time, in my mind, it makes sense for me not to take it, because I know that the type of person that I am, like I may get used to something and I might overdo it and I just can't do it. And I'm like, even like Tylenol or Advil or anything like that. I take medicine on a very, 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 very much needed basis. And that's when it's extreme. I got prescribed medication for panic attacks. I forget the name of the medicine. I have it there in the closet, but I've only actually taken it maybe 3 or 4 times in the last 2 years that I've received it. And that's when I was like to the point where I thought I was going to have a heart attack. But I don't like taking medication of any type. I haven't for years. And which is funny when you think about my history of, partying and drinking and taking drugs and all that. But I've always been a person that I avoid medication for whatever reason. I don't trust it. I feel like I don't trust myself maybe with it. I don't know. And I just feel like, this is my personal opinion, I feel like the medication that you're prescribed is meant to get you in debt and also, or keep you in debt, I should say, and also keep you in the sickness cycle where you need to take medication to counter the effects of whatever medication you're needing to begin with. And then it's a like endless cycle. And so that's just me. And I don't take medical advice from anybody that's listening out there. It's just my preference not to take medication.
It's you being aware of your sole purpose and reality of existing. Like a part of you is like, I want to feel as free as I can possibly be, no restraints kind of thing. And then there's like, I think like partially with like the aging process, you kind of like refine some of those boundaries a little bit more to a point where it does make sense for you. And it's tight enough to where you feel comfortable knowing that like this is your grand scheme. So like if you have like an issue with taking medications, for example, because either like I'm going to be indebted to them, I'm going to have an addiction to them or something like that. Like I can get when it's like, if it's absolutely necessary, like last type of deal, like I could get it.
Yeah.
Compared to like the excess of like the old days, for example, where God only knows, like I know that I like when I've been around you before, I don't know like what you may have had like past issues with, and I'm not judging for it. I know that.
Are you sure you're not judging me? I feel like I hear in the tone of your voice, you're judging me, man. Just kidding.
Because I've been down a bit of a rabbit hole before, so I kind of know exactly what it's like, and I've seen other people go down it, and I'm just like, damn, like it gets real for some people. Because like it was 2010 or 2011, I was drinking so much alcohol, like the hard shit, that it was just like eventually this is gonna catch up. Like I didn't develop an addiction per se, but it was definitely causing me to feel sick for the one time that I had a hangover that lasted like 2 or 3 days. And I had like this, like I had drank, what was it, like a quarter of like the largest container of Jaeger that you had available on the market at that time.
We had I think the gallon ones or half gallon, whatever that they have.
Yeah, the ones that cost like $50 to $75
Yep.
at that time.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there was this dude who he made like his homemade stuff. Like it was like, I don't know if it was
it moonshine?
vodka. No, I mean it might as well have been if it were considering, but it was like his homemade vodka or whiskey or whatever. Like I don't know how he did his process, but like it was like his own personal thing that was in his backyard. And I had like maybe half a bottle of, what was that? It was basically like drinking breakfast because of the flavor. It was like buttermilk pancakes and like maple syrup or something like that. I don't know what it was, but it was so good at the time, flavor wise.
Yeah.
But I got to a point with the heaviest of drinking at that time. And this was before we were supposed to even start working on recording demo ideas and like writing shit, just because it was like, okay, this is like the best lineup this project has probably had or whatever. And that was the attitude going into it. But I got so bad that I couldn't even take a bite out of Taco Bell without feeling sick. And I wound up coming back home and like that exact morning, I had a dry erase board between my bedroom and my bathroom. And somehow in a moment of clarity, I just like wrote a note to myself that like, if you keep going down this road, you're going to die or something. And
Yeah.
like when I finally sobered up, I was like, damn, I drank so much I got fucked up that bad. It makes sense because I'm feeling it. And then I just kind of like slowed down. Like I didn't have to really worry too much about it. It was all about like you start realizing when certain things become actual problems and you're aware of it and you start taking the control to like start addressing it, or at least like the seeds planted to take control, and you're starting to like become more self-aware. Like you Skynet the bitch. You start dropping nukes on the problems that are going to take over you if you don't step up.
Are you a person that you can do something and not get addicted to, like and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but have you ever experimented with any drugs?
The last time I smoked weed was NAM 5 years ago, 6 years ago. We were there at the same time.
Yeah.
It was a buddy of mine that I met on Twitch who offered me a hit off of this like very fat packed cone joint or whatever. I took like a decent enough sized hit off of it, and that immediately started like this cave in chest kind of feeling. And I got taken down to one knee, and I'm just trying to breathe through the thing like, what the hell? And I started chugging a lot of water the best I could. Like, in a sense, I was like probably acting like a cunt, but after time, it's kind of like, like I don't mean to do this. It's just like my body is reacting to this in such a bad way that like something about me is going to become an asshole, and I don't mean it. This is just like, this is the natural reaction of something is wrong. I don't like it. I want it to end, but at the same time, like this is hell for me somewhere. I don't know. That's
So
like
weed made you kind of like aggressive, or
it wasn't really like aggressive. It was more like I don't like the feeling I've got where it feels like a panic attack.
yeah, that's me
So,
too. I get that all the time anytime I smoked.
yeah, and that shit, like when I hit panic attack mode, I'm suddenly a cunt somehow.
Well, I think you get in the fight or flight mode, and I totally get that, dude. If you're uncomfortable,
Yeah.
especially in a place like that that's surrounded with like thousands and thousands and thousands of people there, I would definitely feel uncomfortable. And anytime that I've ever smoked weed and I was at a public place, I always had to like hide and be like in my own little bubble. And I did not get like, me, I'm a very social person. When I smoked weed, I would get antisocial because I was always thinking that something bad was going to happen or someone was out to kill me, or, I'd get these weird, stupid, crazy ideas. And I'd get super paranoid, and it would get to the point where it was just not fun. As soon as I smoked, I would instantly get that paranoia, and I would instantly regret smoking, which is crazy because there was a time that I was able to smoke weed and I enjoyed it and just laugh and just be lazy like anybody else. When I was in high school, I was a stoner, hung out with all the stoners, and I loved smoking weed. But eventually I got older. Maybe the weed just got better or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it just
basically does.
It made me paranoid. I can't do the gummies. I can't do any of that stuff. So I don't mess with anything. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do pills. I don't do anything. Not vaping, not anything.
Yeah.
And to each their own. I wish I could
that.
smoke, or I wish I could smoke and do the gummies and just chill like I've seen my friends do. Like, it'd be awesome if I could do that and just enjoy it, but I'm not a person that could do that. So I just I drink my my flavored club sodas that don't have any calories or fake sugars.
Yeah.
That's my idea of excitement. Because I don't even do Red Bulls. I don't do any energy drinks either. I stopped drinking energy drinks last February, or end of last February. I removed sodas and energy drinks from my diet, and I really don't drink any flavored drinks for the most part anymore either. I put a little bit of light creamer on my coffee. I've made changes to my body just because going into 40 next year, or in May, I want to be in my healthiest and my absolute prime in my 40s, and I want to enjoy life.
Yeah, do what you can do, because I'm halfway through 42 just about, and I got weird ass things happening between like a spot above my knees all the way down to my actual feet. Like I wake up in the morning, I roll over after kind of like trying to like stretch the feet a little bit. I don't even know what the hell's going on, but like I can stand up, and all of a sudden it's like this weird discomfort, and then maybe like this burning sensation that's like on the top of my right foot more than anything else.
Have you been staying active? Because I know you were doing the gym there for a bit. Are you still doing the gym or staying active some way just to keep the muscles and body moving? Or
I've been learning to, like, for my cardio, I've been walking around the neighborhood a little bit more because at least I don't have to pay $25 a month to do that. And
Yeah.
that realistically should be enough. Like the biggest issue is since I quit nicotine at the end of August, it's been
Congratulations, by the way, because I remember you were doing that a lot. Like you were a vapor. So congratulations on that.
it was here's the weird thing. Like have not had any withdrawal symptoms at the time when I did quit. I woke up that morning and I rolled over, I grabbed the thing and I just took a hit and I'm all like, why am I not feeling it? And then I gave it like an hour, took another hit. I'm like, why am I not feeling it? And then another hour went by and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it one more time. If I don't feel it, then maybe it's my body telling me like it's time. And I took the hit and I'm like, okay, within 5 to 10 minutes, I'm like, I'm not feeling a damn thing from this shit anymore. And there's still like juice and battery charge on this thing. So immediately I was like, okay, I'll just do like my goodbye kiss to this shit. I'll take 3 hits back to back. And if I'm still not feeling anything at that moment, I mean, cool. But I'm still just going to wind up gathering everything and put it in the trash. Get some use out of it because I did pay for it. But I wound up just gathering all of the units that still even had like 30% of the juice left in it and just took it down to the trash. And I was like, whatever. Like, if I'm not feeling it, then it's not meant to be anymore. And that just means that's day one to quit. And I didn't really even tell people about it, except I think my mom and maybe one other person. I don't remember. But yeah, like I didn't have withdrawal symptoms. I didn't have that desire to like punch somebody in the face because they sounded like a complete fucking idiot. Like I coursed through that naturally to a point where even after a week, people were like, are you sure like you don't have symptoms? I'm like, stop asking me because I don't. Like, I will slap a bitch with a pancake if I have to.
Slap a bitch with a pancake with maple syrup on it and butter.
And trace amounts of my ass.
Do you have any advice for anyone that may be facing a similar addiction, like with cigarettes or like any form of nicotine, vaping, whatever? Anything that you could offer as far as like that you did that might help somebody? Like,
so here's the thing, because I like with personal usage, I only have the experience with alcohol, nicotine, weed, and mushrooms. I don't have. I would say it's like it's impossible to get an addiction to mushrooms unless if you're like heavy duty tripping all the time. Weed, it's like you can control exactly how you do it. It's just a matter of like, I guess, like the mind over matter approach, but it also depends on how deep you are into it. I've never been deep enough to say that I have like the experience. I just have like a slight amount from reactions and whatnot. Nicotine, I would say it's more about if you're moderating yourself and you have like a sense of control with how you're going to do it. You could say like I have a limit set for myself. Like I'm going to do 3 cigarettes a day. Or if I have a vape unit, it's like, okay, I'm only going to do this percentage of nicotine and I'm only allowing myself X amount of hits per hour. Like being stringent enough with yourself to say that you're setting yourself up for like a routine, or there's a word that starts with the letter D that I'm blanking on, but it's more or less just kind of like a discipline, I guess.
are you talking about like kind of like weaning yourself off of it slowly instead of just going cold cut turkey?
It's easier to wean yourself if you're with cigarettes, like, and trying to do like lesser amounts during the time. If you're doing vaping, I mean, getting yourself down to 0% and figuring out like if it's gonna work for you for the entire time. But at the same time, like it plays as an oral reflex, because you always have to have like a cigarette between your fingers or a vape device in your hands, and you're constantly doing the back and forth, kind of like if you're like addicted to drinking water because you want to stay as hydrated as you can be. You're constantly just like reaching over for the jug that you get from like Walmart or Fred Meyer's that has like 64 fluid ounces capacity, and you're just like constantly going at it, right?
Yeah.
Being able to find a method or a manner in which you can reduce the intake, it helps the most if you also are able to put yourself in situations where you don't have other people that might act as a trigger of some sort, such as if you have a neighbor that you think is like totally cool, but during like the weekends, it's very unpleasant to interact with them. Try taking like the main week to see what you can do for reducing the amount that you're taking in. whether or not if it's like if you're smoking 10 cigarettes a day, and by the time you get down to 5, if you don't have the desire to hit them as much, you're on the right path. But if you start having the desire to add more because it's just not enough, because you're stressing at the same time that you're like wanting to give a reaction, you're probably in a position where you have more triggers around you and you need to identify them so that you can block them out or have like the mental power to do so.
Yeah, you have to be aware. I guess you have to be aware, but it's like for me, like with alcohol, it's always around me. So I had to learn myself, anyways, to just deal with it and kind of suck it up and like, because I couldn't. Can you imagine if I had to avoid alcohol or being around it? Like I couldn't go to shows. I wouldn't be able to be in a band. I wouldn't be able to leave my house because you don't realize how much alcohol consumes people's lives until you get sober. And then you look and you see that everyone around you is like alcohol is such a it's a priority for everything. Like you go to a birthday, you go to a show, you go to a football game, you go wherever, and they're serving alcohol. People are, pre-funking, all that stuff, and that's fine. To each their own. But if I was to rely on, if I myself would have said, you know what, that's a trigger being around it, I would have never left my house. So you kind of have to find a way to even like counter those triggers. Like if you know that your friends are smokers and they're going to be smoking around you, that's a good time for you to go inside and maybe get a soda or get a water or whatever, or walk away while they're smoking.
Yeah.
But you can't fully, in my opinion anyways, you can't avoid being around certain things that may make you consider. You gotta have to have like that. You have to have that the inner. You have to have the inner strength within you to kind of just say, I can't give in. I don't care if I'm around people that are going to be smoking around me or smell like smoke. You might have to change the way you look at things, because then at that point, you're going to smell how nasty it smells. It might take you a bit to realize how gross smoking is and the smell of it. But once you realize how nasty it is, I think it makes it a little bit easier to be like, all right, I don't ever want to put that in my lungs again.
Yeah. And then not only that, but then when you start having some of those realizations, that becomes more or less a motivator, because you finally get a chance to kind of see it. But if you're not prepared to do battle with those kinds of things in order to be around it, then you wall yourself off a little bit. And then some of those motivators that you normally would have start to kind of die off. And then it's not about like wallowing in it, but you kind of like start a small pool of guilt for perhaps feeling like maybe I should at least like be more tolerant of this, or like I need to be more intolerant and like learn how to choose like the people I hang out with or the friends or whatever. And some people go to one extreme or the other as far as that's concerned. You just have to think in a completely different context, because some people, they go through the battles of knowing that it's an addiction for them in some order, or it's just a habit that they've developed, that's not an addiction, because they have the ability to control like how much they can do in a day. And some people are like, oh, if I wanted to, I could smoke one cigarette on a Saturday and not have another one until Friday next week. And you actually watch them like the entire time. And it's like, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Perseverance through those kinds of things in order to hit that growth period that shows that, hey, like maybe, and just maybe, there might be a chance that I can address this a little bit more easier and not be so hard on myself about it. Because there's going to always be a relapse period for people. And then when people have those relapses, you can't come down hard on them, because then you just help reinforce that. You'll make somebody probably even go over the edge a little bit with like, if they dip their toe back into nicotine for like a minute because it was a moment of weakness or whatever. It's not the end of the world. It's a setback, but it's not the end of the world. But if you come down on them like they failed, then they go full bore on that. And then how are you going to pull them out of that? You got to have like a bit of like empathy for people that are like, the people that have an understanding of what it's like. And if they happen to also, I want to say it's like if they have that desire or like the interest in removing such a habit or an addiction from their lives, you have to be capable of coming at it with a sense of compassion in order for them to realize like it's not all bad. But like when somebody steps on their balls, it's like, oh shit, like you just unleashed a beast and they're going back on it. And you're setting them back instead of motivating them to keep moving forward.
Yeah. You got to find you got to find a way to work within the person that you're, trying to help, or if you're trying to be the positive influence for sure, and realize what works for one person may not work for another person, and you have to just know your audience for a situation like that. You mentioned that you've done mushrooms. What was that like for you, and like how often did you do it, or how many times did you do it, and like tell me about your experience with that.
The 2 times I'd done it in 2004, the one time that I had done it, I believe that, when the hell was that? Because there were 3 separate times that I've done it in life where it was like life changing. The 2 times that I did it in 2004, one was during my homeless period, and I had my studio stuff, technically studio, set up in this apartment in Oregon City. I was staying with this guy who's currently still in prison on attempted murder charges.
Jeez.
Somebody that I knew or thought I knew well enough, she brought this baggie along and was like, and we're having a party tonight. And we basically jammed out music and I remember the entire evening, and some of it are details in which I'm like, I will not say some of the things that were said because that was an old version of me, and I'm definitely more moved on and a lot more self-reformed than that. And questionable language, at least. But during the entirety of that, we also were doing it. And then the guy that gave me the place to stay there to set everything up, he's a great vocalist, realistically. He's got the tone of Jonathan Davis in him. And
nice. That's fucking sick.
If he didn't screw up like he did, 20 years ago, guaranteed he would have had a career, like a strong career in the 2010s. And I probably would have been there with him, like trying to help him out a bit. He told us that very night, "Oh, dude, I've totally forgot. Oh my God, you guys are going to kill me for this." And we're like, "What?" And he's like, "I invited this dude over and he works as a sheriff on the river." I'm all like, "Oh my God." So
you guys are frying on shrooms?
The come up was just starting roughly about the time that he told us. But I didn't go into panic. Like as soon as I saw the dude, I was like, okay, gay instincts are activating like right now. I can handle this. Whereas like those two because they we all equally did something, but I think the chick that did bring those mushrooms, I think she also did like the dust and powder at the bottom of the bag too. So it's like she did a lot. She was fucked up. But
what did it do for you? Like, what did you like? Did you see anything? Did you like? How did it affect you mentally as far as like when you were tripping?
I was not a visual tripper. I was just more of like a yapper of sorts.
Did it give you a body high, like where you're like relaxed, or?
No, it's kind of weird because to a certain degree, like you go through waves of things. It's think of it like if you have PTSD, for example, like they say that the active ingredient that you're getting from it, psilocybin, acts sort of like a drill that penetrates the shell that houses all of that PTSD and like all the trauma that you basically carry with you for life, and just kind of like lets it drip out so that you don't happen to deal with like shock from all of that kind of stuff or whatever. And I didn't realize that that's kind of what it was also doing, because at that time I was also dealing with forms of trauma, I guess. But it went in ways where I was watching ROM hacks of Super Mario on a PlayStation go by on a TV screen. I was watching somebody sticking cigarette butts on the end of piano strings that we were going to string an acoustic with. And then there's the riverboat sheriff playing one of my oldest guitars that I gave to somebody through an old ass processor that had a dope ass sound to it. And it's just caked in delay and reverb. And everybody that I was able to see was just tripping the fucking out. And they were like, "We're going to go to the 7-Eleven real quick. We need to get cigarettes because we ran out." And I'm stuck there with the dude. And I'm like, okay, gay instinct activate. And because this dude is a riverboat sheriff, I might as well try to play it as like mature adult, even though I'm also partly tripping. I kept my composure. He did not suspect a damn thing. And then he was like, "Oh, my girlfriend called. I forgot. I need to go and do a couple of things." Like, "Thanks, you guys. Like, I'll come back later," or whatever. And then the other two finally come back. They're still tripping. And she, the friend who brought them, she lays down on the couch that's in the living room. And I just jump up on it. And she starts looking up at me. And I'm just on the armrest with both my feet looking down at her like, "Watermelons, pajama parties." And then she's like, "Fuck off, I'm dying."
The time that I tried them, I was already I was really drunk. I was high on coke. I was high on weed. And that was just another thing that was thrown at me, some stems and some caps, and I took some. I didn't feel anything. I was probably feeling a body high maybe, and I just didn't realize it just because I had everything else in my system. And everyone else around me that was not under the influence of those things, that took just the mushrooms, were like tripping out on the floor and on the ceiling of this cabin that we were at and laughing and just like, I'm like, I don't get it. Everyone's like feeling something. I don't feel shit. It's probably just because I was so high on everything else and drunk that it didn't, like, maybe it didn't affect me, or I don't know what.
Yeah,
but I never had curiosity to try it after that, just because I'm not one of those guys that likes to like trip out and lose control as far as what my mind and where it takes me. So that's why when I hear people talking about like taking, what's that drug?
Molly?
No, I've done Molly.
Ketamine?
Not ketamine. The other one that your body gives when you die.
DMT?
DMT, yeah. I've heard people do that, and they say that that's life-changing for them, and how it seems like forever, like a lifetime when you're under the influence of that, but it's really 5 minutes or less that you're actually high.
Yeah.
And then you have like this out-of-body experience in that. And it's like, I am not curious of that. I'm sure that when I die, obviously I'm gonna experience that, but right now I don't think that I would want to take something like that and then feel like I don't know. I feel like it would affect me for the rest of my life. And then you hear about people that do like acid and then like get perma-fried. Yeah, none of that really ever sounded tempting to me. I was more of a drinking alcohol and taking uppers. Like Molly was fun. Obviously, cocaine was a lot of fun until it wasn't. I never tried meth. I didn't try heroin. Didn't try any of those kind of drugs because that never got my interest at all whatsoever.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be in a band right now if you actually like dabbled in some of those on a almost frequent enough basis, probably.
Probably not, and who knows where I'd be. And I'm glad and thankful I never did. Like I said, I don't judge. I don't teach their own, but that was just not anything that I ever was curious about. Then again, I also said I would never do. I also always said that I would never smoke weed, do coke, or any of that, and you know how that went.
Yeah,
it's wild. The shit that it's just wild thinking about like my past usage and whatnot. So I'm always curious about people's first times with experimenting with mushrooms or things like that, just to see how it was for them. Because everyone's experience is very different too. It's like I always hear different things from people of their first time. Like the first time I smoked weed, I don't feel like I was high, but I think I was. So I don't know.
No, the second time I did shrooms though, I was in this apartment that's like maybe a couple miles down the road from me, and it was a great time. And I don't remember half of the reason why like I opted into doing it, but I just went with it because it was like, hey, like if everybody's hanging out and having a good time, I'm going to do it. A person that I went to grade school with and we both rented the apartment. Best friend came by and she brought a baggie and she's like, guess who's back? And I'm like, oh shit. We had like video game consoles sprawled out and everything. We just, she threw a tampon at me when I was in the kitchen making like Kool-Aid or something like that.
A used one? Just kidding.
No.
That'd be fucked up, dude.
I mean, that could make for an interesting story, but I'm definitely not going to spoil a good time. But she reached into her purse and grabbed one, threw it out, and like I caught it while I was staying in the kitchen, and I opened it up from the packaging. I'm all like, it's a rat or whatever, and then I put or something, whatever it was, and then I put it in the sink and just wet it just for the fun of it, and then I just like. And then I went into this fucking like breakdown. It was just like, I killed the rat.
Oh, God.
And it fucked with their highs so bad. But then like we navigated back on. By the time that I got through the come down of everything and was like sober the next day, it was like my brain had no roadblocks whatsoever. And I ended up for a week just jamming out on a variety of ideas. And I think, what was it, like 8 songs in 2 weeks worth of time. And I was like, I really wish I had that kind of fucking creativity again. But the way I look at it now is the last major time that I did a dosage that put me past things, I was in an apartment with other people down the street from here. And we wound up, I think it was like at midnight, we just listened to Born in Winter by Gojira. And it was just like, it was this weird thing that just hit so different, like an emotional piece of some sort that actually just hits. It's hard to explain. But after that, it was like I see things in a completely different lens now, kind of a thing. And then since then, before before Clackamas County decided that they were going to let it go to the citizens to decide whether or not to like legalize or criminalize it, they voted against just even possessing it, which pissed me off because I was actually microdosing for a short period of time. Like somebody gave me a jar full of, it was like some really decent quality stuff. And I was taking like the size of your pinky nail. I was just doing that small enough amount off of the cap. And it would be enough to like give me just a slight lift, but it wasn't to go into trip territory. It was doing it as a means of testing. Does this actually work in treating people with PTSD? It actually was working until the crazy shit that happened a couple of years back. And then I had to get rid of the stash because the last thing I want is the cops rolling through and deciding like, hey, you know, like you're kind of a suspect right now because of these two bitches deciding that they're going to squawk and put restraining orders on people and whatnot. So I got rid of the stash and I've just been working on navigating things in a mostly sober kind of a approach. And it gives me a different perspective on how people want to navigate getting away from substances and trying to like live in a clear state of mind. So it gives me that kind of respect for people that when they realize that there's like a rock bottom that they can hit, they stop themselves from going past an event horizon with substance use and whatnot.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I don't encourage the use of drugs, but at the same time, it's like you don't know about it until you try it yourself. Everyone's experience is different. The only thing I could say is that if you keep doing it, it doesn't lead to, like, you don't see people that live happy lives that end up getting addicted to it. Like who do you see that lives happy while addicted to drugs? It's like when someone tells you not to touch the stove because it's hot. There's going to be people that still touch it because they're ignorant and just don't want to, and they have to learn for themselves. And there's people that can watch from other people. I wish I would have learned from myself watching family members, and especially like personally my dad. I wish I would have learned from seeing that, but I wouldn't have the experience that I have now with life. We're going to hit the hour mark right now. So I definitely would like to get you back on and we can talk a lot more because we have a lot of different things that we can go on tangents about. So for this last portion of it, what are you doing that you want to push, direct people to certain links, social medias? Where can people find you? The projects that you're doing, where can they listen to your music, your Spotify, all that fun stuff so that the listeners can track you down?
Well, the unfortunate thing is I actually removed everything of my own from Spotify for specific reasons and whatnot, not to make it a political statement or anything like that. But there's some things that led me to thinking like I probably would be of better benefit just to try to like push a little bit harder on working things on my own terms and not relying on a platform that I honestly don't really use as much myself.
Yeah.
But I do have my own works are on platforms like YouTube. There is Apple Music or iTunes, Tidal, you name it, whatever platform is distributed to, minus Spotify. You basically could find it there by my name, Brandon Sills. The last thing that I released was a song, like an instrumental song called Becoming a Greater Danger, which was actually a homework project and a final for my winter term in college. And it led to a variety of other things that I still have yet to release. I don't know how I want to do with it, but there's a lot of stuff that's just like sitting here and I'm trying to find things that I can create or use as a tie-in with some of these other things that I've done in college for the spring term and some other experiments from studying like the wax tracks era of industrial music along with the sound chips for video game consoles and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm diving in and I'm making a bunch of stuff right now. It's just a matter of when, but there's always going to be bits and pieces. You can just basically find me anywhere on the internet, except for Spotify and Pornhub. No,
I'm just kidding.
No, I've actually outgrown like that kind of culture, to be honest. It's kind of strange. Like when you get older and you start changing, these things kind of become different. Like I can respect that era of the culture, but I've grown past like that era. Like there's parts of me that you've seen before in person and I'm like, some of those things, whatever, if it's something I've said or I've done, like that's not me anymore.
Yeah, no, for sure. I hear you. And I like that. The growth is good. And I was just teasing you about the 4chan because me, Brick, Brandon, and Pito spent time in New York when we were doing press release for the Great American Dream album. And Brandon we had never heard of 4chan. And for anyone that's aware of 4chan out there, there's a lot of craziness you can find on there, and just the most like out of this world conversations. And we can go down a whole rabbit hole of that if we wanted to on a whole nother episode. But Brandon showed it to us, and we were just having a great time when we were bored in our hotel rooms, just watching that and making prank phone calls and all sorts of fun stuff.
Yep.
So they can find you on social media. Do you like it when people just hit you up on there too? Do you mind when people follow you? And I'm assuming if you're on there, you probably want people to follow you. And
follow me, listen to whatever it is that I've got. The easiest way to get me to respond, strangely enough, is between Facebook, which is kind of like one of the few platforms, but Discord, I'm always on that. I'm always seeing it on the side whenever I'm even working on stuff. So I don't know. I will respond. It'll take time with most other platforms. I do check in from time to time. But if it's like sending me reels on platforms like Instagram or TikTok or whatever, like I may or may not see it. But if it's like text conversation, I may guide you over to a platform like Discord where it's just that much easier to have those conversations.
I love it.
Email as well works the same, so it's not exactly a big deal. I do need to actually get that. I think I have that functioning on my website. I'm gonna have to check that after this call. But yeah, like just anything, anywhere. And the one thing I can say that I can offer you for the time being is like a goodbye parting gift kind of thing for the time being. A lot of things in my own past I don't regret, because the way I look at it is some regrets only hold you back from that growth that you're looking for.
Yes. That's 100% true, and I love that. That's a good closing message there for everybody. Thanks a lot for being on the podcast, man. Again, we'll have to have you on here because we have a lot more that we can definitely discuss. And thanks for sharing your knowledge and your stories and your funniness and just overall good personality. I love it. Like, we've been friends for a long time now, and you're a great person. So thanks for being on the podcast. Everyone out there, check out Brandon. Go find him, follow him, stalk him, poke him, whatever.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right, buddy. I'm going to close it out. And that was the end of my conversation with my buddy Brandon. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. He's an awesome guy. So make sure you go follow him. I will have the links to catch up with Brandon and follow him on social media. Check out his band, his projects in the description of the show. I want to give a huge shout out to 2 people now that I have that are subscribers and that are providing the podcast with payment so that we can continue doing this, with minimal charge. So big shout out to Eric Sheets, who was my first subscriber. Thank you so much. Eric was a guest on the show. He was on episode number 2. So please go ahead and go check that out. He's been a longtime follower of my band and just a great supporter and great friend for some time now. So thankful for him. And then I want to give another shout out because this week not only did we get a donation, but we also got a subscriber out of him, and that's King John. Since King John put his name on there as he did, I'm going to refer to him that way, but he knows who he is. So mad shout out to King John. Thank you so much for subscribing and for your donation, man. I really, really appreciate it, because this podcast does cost money to do the editing, to pay the host, Buzzsprout. So shout out to them as well for hosting the podcast and distributing it out. If you want to become a subscriber, we definitely appreciate that. And we'll continue to give shout outs on each of the episodes. Any donation helps. So don't feel obligated to give a certain amount to match a dollar amount or whatever is appreciated. And we thank you for that. If you can't afford to subscribe, that's perfectly fine. You can still follow the podcast and you can still listen every week, because we love spreading the word here and trying to inspire others. So
that's right. Spreading it.
Spread it. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Keep kicking ass, and positive vibes to you all.
Be sure to find us on all social media platforms, follow and subscribe.